Washington is joining us on the phone, and President Byron Glennon is absent. Do we need to do roll call votes?
No, you're going to do revote with all ayes and then any no's. Do we have General Manager Tim Domingo on the line?
Yes, I am here.
Okay. Do we have Director of Public Works John Houghton? He is absent also. I am Director of Administration. This is Sherry Kim. Do we have John Comar on the line?
I am here.
Thank you very much.
Sherry, you ought to identify me on the line also.
Do we have Steve Perez on the line?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much.
Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Before we approve the agenda, Steve, do we have any additions to the agenda?
Yes, we do. We need to add an item that would be identified as N2 to the agenda. The finding information came to our attention after posting the agenda, and the action is critical for a retiring employee. With the addition of N2 to the agenda, do I have a motion? I'll make a motion. I second to approve the agenda with the addition of N2. Let the record show that the motion was made by Director Wallace and approved by Director Webb. Seconded. Sorry, second by Director Webb.
All in favor?
All in favor? Aye. 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 All opposed? Let's show a 4-0.
4-0.
Approval. All right. At this time, we're going to open the floor to public comments. I'm going to dispense with the reading. If anybody in the public would like to talk, now would be the time.
Yes, sir. Hello. My name is Patty Orr, and I'm a reporter with the Mojave Desert News. I got your agenda by email by my boss earlier today, and he wanted me to cover the meeting for the Roseman Community Services District as far as writing a story for highlights. So right now I am taking notes on the agenda that I printed out so I can write a story for next week's paper. But I want to thank you for inviting me to this meeting, and I look forward to working with all of you.
Patty, this is Sherry Tim. Could you please spell your name for the record?
I'm sorry?
Could you please spell your name for the record?
Yes, ma'am. My name is Patty. First name is P-A-T-T-I. Last name is Orr, spelled O-R-R. And I'm a reporter / sports writer for the Mojave Desert News.
All right. Thank you, Patty.
You're very, very welcome, ma'am.
Thank you, Patty. Appreciate you joining us. Now I'm going to go down to a voluntary public roll call via teleconference. If anybody else would like to acknowledge that they're joining us tonight, that would be a great time.
Hi, Ben, and members of the board, and welcome, Kim. This is John Joyce reporting for the Roseman News, in print and online.
Thank you, John. Good evening, sir.
Hi.
Moving right along, we're going to go to consent calendar. CC1, receive check voucher register for November 29th, 2022 through January 16th, 2023. Do I have a motion to approve the consent calendar? Motion to approve CC1. First, Director Webb. Second? I'll second it. Second, Director Wallace. I almost said roll call vote.
All those in favor?
All those in favor?
Say aye.
Say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 4-0.
Mr. Vice President, I believe that's January 11th. Did that do the January 11th regular board meeting?
January 11th.
No. It was I believe that's correct. Let me just double check.
No, it's 11th.
My mistake. Correction.
All right.
January 11, 2023.
Okay, so let's correct the date instead of January 6th, 2923, it will be January 11th, 2023. Can I get a motion to approve that with the corrected date?
I make a motion to accept the minutes of this one with the approval, with the amended date of January 11th, not January 6th, regular board meetings. I'll make a motion.
Second by Director Washington.
All right, first was by Director Webb, second by Director Washington. And I want to say roll call vote, and that's not what it is.
All those in favor?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Passes 4-0. Thanks for bearing with me. We've just been doing it the other way for 3 years. So the one night I get to step up and do this, it's different. All right, move along. New business. In one, post-election board workshop, presenter Kim Domingo.
Actually, I'll take it. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Steve.
I was just going to say that Steve's going to take the lead on this one as he brought it to our attention, so I'm going to let him present.
Mr. Vice President, the board had requested to have a post-election board workshop regarding various items of decorum and protocols in regard to board members and good working relationships. I contacted BHI, Brett Ives, and he sent a cost to provide the workshop. It would be a Zoom workshop to keep costs down. The cost, however, would be $5,000. And at this point, I would need, and the new general manager would need authorization from the board to move forward to schedule and hold the post-election board workshop.
Would this be a time for discussion, or we want to? I think it'd be time for discussion.
So you would
Gotta get a motion.
you would entertain the motion in the second, and then discussion.
Motion.
So what we're going to motion to approve it first before we have a discussion?
Accept the deeds.
Okay. All right. Do I have a motion to approve the post-election board workshop? See, for probably the cost of $5,000.
I'll make a motion.
First, motion made by Director Wallace. Second.
I second.
Second, Director Webb. So let's discuss. So, in my opinion, and I'll go first on this one. In my opinion, $5,000 seems a pretty hefty price. Steve, did we reach out to our current legal counsel what they would charge us for the same type of training?
My instruction was to reach out to BHI and see if they could do it. I did not reach or ask counsel what their cost would be to provide the workshop.
In your opinion, do you feel like this is an adequate price for this training?
It all depends on how you look at the presentation to the board. I know that Brett Ives produces a training cell within the CSDA, the California Special Districts Association environment for all special districts throughout the state. And he has slide presentations that go along with his presentation. Now, that's one side. the other side with the with council, I am not sure how their presentation would be put together. And I thought the price, the $5,000 price, was steep. Although he explained that all the pricing has gone up on all of this as everything else has, and he acknowledged that that it would probably sound steep, but I have no clue what our council would charge us to do the same.
Yeah, would you be able to, if we postpone this to another meeting, would you be able to find out on that? And then also, I'd like to see when the next CSDA conference is.
Exactly.
They usually have that, and it's Brent Ives as well. So table the matter until we do a little more research on this.
Yeah, I'd like to comment, Director Washington here. Steve, how is this training differ than the CSD leadership and board practice conference that they do? I believe that the conference is broad. This one would be tailored to however the board would want the topics addressed, whatever topics they want addressed specifically, and in addition to what he presents at a conference. Now, it would drill in a little bit deeper on the subject matter that a board would request. That's how it would differ. Okay. Thank you. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, how do I withdraw the motion? Say withdraw the motion, or
So, Director Webb, do you wish to withdraw your motion?
Now, this one we'll do. What I'd like to do is that for the workshop, I'd like to withdraw the motion here, and then I'd ask that we table it, allow the GMs, give them more time to research it, whatnot, then we can bring you back.
okay. So let's.
What are you?
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
What I would do is reach out to council through John, who's on the line right now, and find out what they would charge us, and then let them report back to Kim, and Kim could bring that back to you at a subsequent meeting.
Okay. Do we have a motion to table this matter to do some research on what the legal counsel would charge us?
I make a motion that we table the post-election board workshop pending additional information, finding and having the GM look at additional presenters.
Do I have a second? I second that. Second, Director Wallace. So first was Director Webb, second by Director Wallace. And I'll have a great part on it again.
All in favor?
All in favor. I'm going to write that down. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed?
Hearing no opposed.
Hearing no opposed, it passes. Moving down to N2. Presenters, press.
This one is an employee who is retired and as requested. The request came through the union that they're 1 year away from their Medicare, Social Security, and has requested the district to assist this employee to with an $8,000 request. In the personnel meeting that we discussed, I was required to or asked to check out the COBRA cost, which is more expensive than our current insurance that we pay for employees, and the current insurance is more than what the employee through the union has requested. Now, it is without a policy currently in the in the district, but it would be suggested that if the board decides to move forward with this, that a policy be drafted in regard to what you could look at as kind of a gap insurance and for service on a 15, 20, and 25-year period would be able to qualify for a 1 year at 15 years of service, 2 years at 20 years of service, and 3 years at 25 years of service. And that is what would be suggested that the district do, is set the policy. That way, we would have, the district would have a policy to address this as it arose. I believe we've only had, I think this is our first retirement in the district. For represented employees. And however, if the board suggests that another figure be more palatable, they did say that any assistance would be appreciated.
Steve, let me ask you a question because I'm kind of confused. They're asking us to do what? Real plain and simple. What are they asking us to do? Put money up for what?
He'll be losing his insurance at the end of this month in a couple of weeks, and he's entitled to. He paid at the first of the year, so he has insurance through the end of the year or end of the month. Then he without insurance unless he goes to Cobra and at a higher cost than he's currently paying. They're requesting assistance by the district for assistance in picking up the 1 year between now or at the end of the month and the time that he qualifies for his Social Security and Medicare.
Okay, so help me on this here. So they're asking for a gift of funds for that time there because you're saying that they've retired or they're going to retire and they'll have to go into Cobra because of an age thing or something that we didn't have in place. Is this something that district can have in place or something they didn't have in place?
Steve, can I say this? So this came to the policy committee, and what it is when somebody retires from the district, currently if they're not 65, no matter how long they work for the district, they have no medical benefits until they're 65, until they go on Medicare and Medicaid. So, and this hasn't come up before because nobody from the district has retired before the age of 65 unless it was a medical condition that they were able to go out on. So that's one of the issues we're coming up with is the gentleman's retiring at 64 with so many years of service with the district, but he has no medical benefits until he's 65.
So why don't we put this off and write the policy? Because what I'm seeing now, we want to carry him. What's going to stop somebody else from coming and asking for the same package? I mean, I'll ask the question. If we're going to entertain it, shouldn't we have a policy to look at? Because, Steve, how much dollar amount are we talking about? 9,000.
Pardon me?
What's the dollar amount we're talking for this 1 year?
They're asking for $8,000 for current insurance. It's like $800 or $8,450, I believe, and Cobra is way more expensive than that.
Well, so they're asking us to cover $8,000 until they're eligible for insurance. That's 65.
Right, or any amount that the district would approve.
So that's an either or. Only concern I would have, folks, are we setting ourselves up since we don't have a policy in place? That becomes a new. people can come up at any point and just throw something at me, because we always haggle about gift of public funds. Is this a gift of public funds? If that person chooses to retire, that's a choice they make. But my concern now, if we go over here, what stops Ryan from coming up here next week and says, well, I want the package Ben just got, and it's maybe a percentage or number that will make a contribution, because we're going back, we constantly get yelled at for gift of public funds, and if we don't have a policy in place, that's a gift of public funds, unless I'm missing something.
I see your point of view.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking, Steve. Am I missing something, Steve?
No, you're right on point, actually, and that's why the proviso of a mandatory, and I didn't say mandatory, policy be drafted because of that issue. Now, if the board elects to draft the policy prior to making a decision final on it, if the policy is adopted, would the board, because I know they're going to ask, would the board entertain a retroactive to assist that?
Well, Steve, so the other question is, if everyone comes, is that going to be that, if everyone, hypothetically, if we got 4 more people, is it always going to be that same dollar amount coming to us, or if they're at that age group, if they're anything 64 or under, the dollar amount could change back and forth?
Well, you could qualify for your Medi-Cal at 65, and if you drafted the policy to the maximum that they would consider based on 25 years of service or more would be 3 years. So when you're 62, that would be the highest.
Right.
If and then at 20 years you could get 2, so that would reduce it to 63.
To help them get closer to that number.
Pardon?
To help them get closer to the 65.
Yes.
We have to have somebody
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. I'm just thinking, folks, is that I know that insurance is its own dynamic, but if we don't have a policy in place, I think we're opening ourselves up for a whole bunch of other challenges for folks to come in. Well, you gave it to him, you gave it to her, why can't I have the same thing? If we don't have a policy in place, we just play favoritism.
I'd like to make a comment, Director Washington. I think I'm missing something. Steve, you did say you were going to put a policy in place and then retro this particular individual we're speaking of, right?
That was the question, yes, that I had.
Okay. And how many years of service does this employee have?
He has 15, and he would be eligible under policy drafted like that,
Right.
1 year, and that's what
Okay,
the request.
gotcha. And you made a pretty good comparison comparing it to gap insurance, because it's
Right.
kind of, it just has
And-
dealings with the car dealership about, gap insurance.
Right.
Yeah,
And
gotcha.
where this would be done anywhere else, and President Glennon had brought it up in the personnel meeting that the school district has a policy that runs on the 15, 25, 1, 2, and 3 years on their insurance. And that's how we came up with that.
And Steve, does their union offer anything for them during that time period? Does the union, do they offer anything, or they just sent them to us?
No, the union doesn't provide insurance for any of their members.
ASME doesn't do that.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Steve.
So if the board would consider moving this to the personnel committee, and the personnel committee could discuss drafting the policy and then bringing it back to the board for approval in the future, would probably be in order. I like having the policy also before, and I will probably pass on to the union that after the policy is drafted, the discussion as to whether or not the board would do retroactive or do a pro rata say we do it it's done in February, he would lose a month, and then base it on that.
Steve, tell me if I'm wrong, but this has already gone to the Personnel Committee, and they've already made their recommendation to the board. Wouldn't it just be better served going to the Policy Committee to work on the policy?
Absolutely. I misspoke. You're right.
Okay, so to the policy committee, gotcha.
So, do you want me to say what the Personnel Committee's recommendation was, or do you have that, Steve?
No, go ahead.
So the Personnel Committee's recommendation was to make it retroactive back to the beginning of this year, January 1st, with the increments of 15 years would get you 1 year of medical, 20 years would get you 2 years, and 25 years of service would get you 3 years. So that would, and the district would cover the cost of the medical insurance just for the employee, not for a spouse. And that would allow somebody to retire at the age of 62 if they had at least 25 years of service, 63 with 20 years, and 64 with 15 years of service with their medical insurance being covered. That was the recommendation of the Personnel Committee.
Good. I make a motion that we move it to the policy committee. Continue this discussion.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Yeah, it was Washington that made the motion.
I'm sorry, Director Washington.
Director Washington made the motion, and second by Director Wallace. Let's vote.
Yes, we go to policy.
To go to policy. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed? That's 4-0 to go to the policy committee.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Well,
Steve.
Mr. Vice President, you're the chair of the policy committee, and I work alongside with you, so I'll wait for you to schedule a standing committee meeting.
We will get on it right after this. We'll get it scheduled up for in the upcoming week, so we're not stringing this guy along.
Great.
All right, presentation, Water Reclamation Plant, project update. Presenter, Ryan Ritter, Chief, Water Reclamation Plant. Thank you.
During the past 2 weeks out of the wastewater facility, the staff has been working diligently as far as infrastructure of the facility. We did have quite a bit of rain, and out of the wastewater facility is a lot of clay, so the rain happens to stick around for a while. We've been working on maintaining roads, dikes, things of that nature, and not only that, improving the drainage for the upcoming years. We've also been working on maintenance of the pumps and just general items at the facility, keeping everything maintained. As well as that, we've been doing everyday process controls. Every day we have a regimented routine of process control samples that we conduct at the facility. And what this does is it gives us information to make an educated decision on process control practices that we need to make at the facility to try to improve the effluent water quality produced by the plant. Some of the major things that we've done today, we began working on exposing a sludge drying bed that has long been out of service, digging down to the pipes, the drainage of it to clean and rehab this sludge drying bed. Tomorrow we have samples of the lab that we send off to the lab for the effluent quality control for the state Lahontan Regional Board. That will be conducted tomorrow. And we also, as a side note, I wanted to let the board know, I didn't know if I knew it in the last meeting. In the month of December, we percolated 87 acre-feet with a 10% loss from the water master for things of evaporation, things of that nature. And we are working to get that information turned into water master so in the future we can start to get some gains on the investments that we've made in the wastewater treatment far as the construction update, today we had the construction foreman on site as well as individuals from Kennedy G. In the past, Brock has always been in charge of change orders and providing that information to the general manager. As of today, I took that over, and next week I'll be providing an update and information to our new GM on some change orders and things that are happening at the facility. Last week we had a plant shutdown, a complete plant shutdown for the solar time. It went fairly well. The plant came back online and recovered very quickly. However, the solar tie-in was not able to be completed due to the lack of parts for the solar company. So at a later date, we'll sit down again and go through that. We still continue diligently working to resolve some of the few issues that are still at the plant. As of now, we're hoping by the end of this month to have the parts to replace for the blower. We are coming up with a plan for Parkson to be back on site to finish up what they have to do. And at that point, this plant should fully be operational. We are working on small things in-house that we chose to resolve in-house rather than going through the construction company. Save the district of some cost. Currently, we're working on a distribution box 5 effluent weir that in design did not function properly. And so we took that on as in-house, and one of our new employees is currently working on that every day. Hopefully we have it finished by the beginning of next week and installed next. And from there, that is my update on the facility.
Do we have any questions for Ryan?
Yeah, I had a question, Director Washington here. First, Ryan, or should I say Chief Operator, I want to thank you for the recent tour you gave me of the plant. You know, being an old water guy, it felt good to be around infrastructure again and give me a better idea of the whole picture. But my question is, during your January 11th presentation, and my numbers may be off a little bit, but during your January 11th presentation, you spoke about the grit collection system currently performing at 88% capacity with 100% flow into the plant. My question is, I'm trying to catch up on all this. Was that grit system originally part of the plant expansion, or not really sure? I'm trying to catch up.
No, the grit removal system was part of the plant construction back in 2012.
Gotcha.
That gave a presentation for new grit removal system, and the board saw that, and I will also be updating our new GM on that, and hopefully we can come to some sort of resolution to at least all agree to start in the design process. But that will come from our new GM direction and go from there.
Great. Hey, just a side note, just a little observation. I am really impressed with all the certifications of staff. You in particular, grade 3 wastewater, distribution 2, treatment 2. That's pretty impressive. And I also was speaking with the gentleman, I believe his name was Juan, and he was talking a little bit about wells. Grade 4 distribution. And you know, it sounds pretty simple. It's a certification, but in the water world, that's big time stuff. So hats off to you guys, and keep up the good work out there.
Well, I appreciate it, and I am glad that you enjoyed the tour of the facility. And I'm glad you brought that up. You know, of course, pending approval in your guys' schedule, I would like to invite all you at the time that is good for you and the general manager to welcome you all out to come take a tour of the facility. It will give you a basic understanding of the facility out there, and not only that, it will allow you to see the tremendous benefit from a facility of this and the byproduct that can be made from a plant like this and the beneficial uses to the community.
Ryan, I'd like to
to give you a compliment. I was speaking before the meeting. I recently attended a seminar, and just based on you giving presentations to us here, it was a bacterial, one of those test terms you guys use, but I was a lady. Everyone else were water people. And every quiz that I took, I had 85 or better just on the presentation that you were giving us about the things that are going on at the plant. And I told you I love your enthusiasm, and your enthusiasm becomes infectious. So thank you for the excitement you present on that there. But literally every quiz I took, based on just listening to you, I was able to ace those during the seminar. So that's obvious that you're putting out good information. That's also current information in the industry as a whole. So I thank you for your excitement and your enthusiasm.
I appreciate that, and I'm still learning every day. By no means I have all the answers, but I'm still learning, and I'm currently working on putting another presentation together for you guys. I have my son coming out, videotaping me at various places at the plant, in case you guys can't make it out for a tour. But with him being younger and trying to videotape and stay on task without falling off the side, I'm having difficulty getting that put together for you guys. But thank you for all your comments. I appreciate it, and thank you guys very much.
Thank you, Ryan. Anybody else have anything? Ryan?
Thank you, Ryan. Moving on to director's reports, comments, or future agenda items. I will start with Director Wallace. Do you have anything? No? Director Webb?
Yeah, I have a couple of things. First of all, I'd like to, again, the seminar, it's part of the RCAC. I don't know what those acronyms mean, but Sherry has the packet there. But all of there's some on the webinars, but they're free. It talks about directly the things that small water districts that we do. I'd encourage the directors to get a copy from her. Some of them are 2-3 hours. There's a workshop coming up in Valencia in March. It has good pertinent stuff to what's applicable to what we do. And I would encourage everyone to look at that. The other thing I'd like to bring up is former director Greg Woods. He's doing a presentation in the Roseman News talking about the adjudication, the water battles that go on in the Alamo Valley. I would encourage everyone to read it because we throw out things about adjudication and wheeling water, pumping water, this, that, and the other, but Greg Woods, it's a good article, and it's readable. It's like about 4 or 5 paragraphs to the point. John, are you still on?
Yeah, I am.
Could you briefly, when I'm done, talk about that real quick? Because I'd like for you to kind of let the folks know what the papers in. Anyway, hold on a second, John. And then the last thing is that, we've got some pretty tragic things going on. So I ask all of us to think about the folks that have lost families and some of these tragedies here, both in Northern California and down here in Monterey Park. And just remember, folks, life is such a delicate thing. There's no guarantees. And let's just be mindful. Let's keep everybody in our prayers. With that, John, could you kind of talk about that article that Mr. Wood does and kind of tell me what part of the paper it's in, please?
Yes, Director Wood has vast experience in Roseman with the projects and with his time with LA County. And what he has done is write up a series of articles that show how the district got to where it is now and where it's going, and explains some of the workup and the challenges that he sees in the future. He is a good writer. He doesn't bore, and he is providing these on a weekly basis, and the Roseman News has agreed to put these online on YouTube and print them in the weekly papers. It is very good for everybody, even us who have been around since it started, to refresh our memory as to all of the things that have gone on. So it's a very, very interesting series of articles, and I concur with you. I encourage everybody to apprise themselves of the Greg Wood articles.
Thank you, John.
You're welcome.
Web, do you have anything else? Before we go to Director Washington, speaking of former Director Wood, I'm pretty sure he's on the line, and he probably has something he wants to talk about regarding the grid. Because I know when the presentation was presented, he was pretty impressed with it. So, former Director Wood, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I just thank you, Director Washington, for bringing it up, and Ryan, you as well. And I just wanted to explain a little bit in layman's terms to kind of cover it, and that is the fact that the grit chamber that is in the plant now was designed for a 500,000 gallon per day plant process. When we built the new plant with the second bioact and the second clarifier, we were going to be pushing the entire 1.2 MGD through the plant. The current grit system is extremely overloaded. And it shouldn't, like it's running at, if it's running at 88%, that's way too high. It's going to just, you're going to get such a load of grit that it's going to overwhelm the system. You're going to be out there trying to clean this thing way more than you should have to. We had a presentation with the grit removal system that was very enlightening. I've had a lot of experience with grit chambers, and I was very impressed with this new system to where it almost operates like a package plant, and it can be put right on site. Very little infrastructure has to be built, and they can use the existing infrastructure there to do it. And so I just kind of wanted, I know Director Washington, you weren't there when the presentation came in on the grit system, but it's the current system we have right now is barely limping along, and it'll do the job for a little while. But if we don't upgrade the system and upgrade the capacity of it, it'll eventually get loaded down and overwhelmed. And I just wanted to put that out there as a reminder.
Well, I didn't want to say all that, but thank you. Okay.
Thank you, former Director Greg Wood. Sounds like you have an idea for the next article.
It'll be coming. Exactly. Right now, I want to say that I am so appreciative of John Joyce and the Roseman News for giving me the opportunity to help educate the public and the community, and to, just be another voice out there to try to tell the people, where we've been, how we got to where we are today, and where the direction we need to be going in the future to make sure that our water and wastewater is responsibly handled and taken care of. And hopefully at the end of the day, everybody will have a much better understanding and about water and how it's brought to their homes, and how the wastewater is safely taken away from their homes. Thank you, John. I appreciate giving me this platform.
Awesome. Thank you, Greg. Moving along. Director Washington, do you have anything?
All right. Boy, you guys took all my time here. Let me cut this short here. Thank you, Mr. Vice President. I'd like to take my time to welcome my new General Manager to the Roseman Community Service District, and look forward to working with you, Kim, as you lead this district forward into the future. On a side note, Kim, one of the cool things about this community is that all the eateries in town are very good, and each has its own uniqueness. So I encourage you to stop in these restaurants, introduce yourself as our new general manager, and give them a try. With that said, I'd like to move my comments over to the public.
although we've had some really good rainstorms recently, Roseman remains in our Stage 2 water conservation program. Now, this stage is only focused on using water efficiently and cutting down water waste. So for me, example, that means cutting off the faucet when I shave or brush my teeth until the water is needed, or not running my sprinklers during the winter. So, just like to say, let's not quite pop the champagne bottles thinking the drought is over. Let's continue to be water wise. With that said, that's all I have. I yield back to you, Mr. Vice President.
I think that was very well said. Thank you, Director Washington.
I mean, I think we're all a little guilty on that shaving and brushing our teeth topic. So I'm trying to do better.
Yeah, my family knows when I'm in the room that faucet's off when you're brushing your teeth. So my 9-year-old gave me the eye the other night because he knew I was coming in to say it. So I definitely appreciate, and that was definitely well said. Myself personally, I don't have any comments, so we're going to move down to General Counsel update. John Comar.
Nothing tonight, folks.
Thank you, sir. General Manager update. Kim Domingo.
I'll go ahead and go. First of all, I just want to thank all of you. And, I'm really humbled by being selected for this position. And I apologize for not being there in person, as my wife is recovering from knee replacement surgery. But I appreciate, again, the welcome. I appreciate the invite to the local eateries. I will take you up on that. So
the first one's on me.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. But on actual district business, just want to give a quick update on and thank the government and sewer committee met on Monday, and there was a lot of information provided, and there was a request for an update on one of the items, which was the sanitary sewer monitoring program update, or the survey. And did talk with John. I don't think he's on the call. If he's on the call, then I'll keep my comment short. But if he's not, are you on the call, John?
Yes, sir, I am.
Oh, great. Then I'll let you talk when it comes to your point. But anyway, I appreciate all the input that I got from that committee, and I also appreciate. I want to thank your outgoing general manager, Mr. Perez. He's been very, very helpful in bringing me up to speed on a lot of issues. I've been impressed with the progress that has been made on a lot of the district's challenges, and also I appreciated the tour of the wastewater plant. I also got the tour of the wastewater plant, and I felt a little bit at home there because that's kind of my background. I am a wastewater previous wastewater engineer, so I also felt good. A little more. Yeah, felt good to be at home, and so I probably will spend a little bit more effort on getting into that a little bit, but I am looking forward to serving the district and this community. So I appreciate the opportunity again, and I look forward to speaking with both Mojave News and Roseman News. Reached out to me, and I will provide the information that you guys need. So, thank you.
I had a question for you, Kim, Director Washington, and not really directed at you because I know you're new. You're just getting your feet under you and up and running. But we all can chime in on this. But you mentioned there was a sewer committee meeting, and again, I'm trying to play catch up. But I know staff had authorized a contract with Fisher Compliance to prepare a comprehensive sewer system management plan, and it seems like this contractor was going to audit RCSD's current sewer plan and provide recommendations and training on deficiencies. has this started, or did we move forward with this? I saw where I think the Engineering and Sewer Committee needed to meet and discuss this to move it forward. Have we moved that forward, anyone, or where are we with that?
So
Yeah, I can.
well, I was going to say, John, you're going to provide that in your report, but yeah, go ahead, John.
Oh,
Yeah, so the official compliance has been started. We've supplied them with all of our information that they have requested. They are ready to set up an actual audit of our system where they come out and do an inspection and audit like as if they were the enforcer coming out and
right.
let us know our deficiencies and our weaknesses, our strengths. We have not yet set that actual date yet, but I expect it coming here within the next few weeks.
Okay. Now, Steve, I remember you had spoken about this, and you mentioned that there were 5 mandatory tasks they were going to provide, and you also said there were 5 optional tasks that we may want to move on or look into. You remember that? Can you touch on that a little bit?
Yes, I do remember that. All of the board authorized all the first 5 and the optionals. So they will be providing a full slate of service for the district. This should take us well into the future and make us squeaky clean. There's a lot of areas in the collection system as well as the plant, etc., that need to be looked at and updated, and they are going to do that and give us the best training and the best advice possible. And it's coming from people that used to be regulators and people that came out with this kind of thing.
Good call.
Thank you.
I'm going to speak on that real fast. John, when he comes out here, my suggestion would be to talk to him about the new WDR requirements that came out in December and take effect in June. He is probably teaching a class on his own. That'd be Jim. You might be able to pick his brain on it.
We've already been discussing the new regulations that are coming in.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay. Kim, if you got anything else?
Nope, thank you.
Kim, I look forward to meeting you, sitting down with you, having a cup of coffee, and hearing out your vision and moving this thing forward. So I apologize for not being there tonight, but sounds like you aren't neither. So we'll catch up with each other in a couple weeks. So welcome aboard.
Thank you. I look forward to meeting every one of you face to face. So,
all right,
Mr. Vice President, if I may.
That was my next thing. Can we reach into the past and speak to the predecessor?
I would just like to say how much I appreciate working, coming back home in 2011 and giving back to a community. Although a lot of what we do is misunderstood by some of the community, the actions that we take as a team, the board, the GM, are done to in response to regulation and for what is best for the whole in the community. And I know that the board in the past has set a priority to do what we do in the district as though we were running a business, so good business practices around men of the community that take this extremely serious. And even though we get stones thrown at us, we continue to persevere and move forward in the best interest of the community. So it's been a pleasure working for you and a pleasure to come home and do so. I just got to say that I in my last board meeting, and tomorrow will be my last day of this week, and beginning Monday, I will start my vacation.
Well deserved, Steve. Thank you. Moving on, Director of Administration update, Sherry Tim.
Hi, thank you. So we are transitioning from a successful conversion. Thank you very much. And we are now planning to reopen our lobby February 1st, back up to the public. Very excited to be getting back to normal for our community. We're going to be working through a little more challenges, but I'm confident that we'll have our service there as expected by our community. And that's my report.
Awesome.
All right.
Public Works update, John Howden.
Yeah, since our last meeting, the Public Works Department has replaced 7 line leaks, or repaired 7 service line leaks. They've cleaned and cambered 3 streets, which are Santo, Mount Lassen, and Stevenson. They've replaced 3 angle stops. They've done hot patching on asphalt on 3 different spots in the community. There was also a hydrant hit at Gordon and Monte Vista. They've repaired and replaced that. The water bulk station has been upgraded. We've been having lots of problems with the water bulk station not being able, the card swiping not working. We have replaced all of the components. The manufacturer sent us all new components, so we have an all-new card reading system. So hopefully we will not hear any more complaints about that bulk water station. And they've completed the monthly meter reading, and that's all I have for today.
Thank you, John. We appreciate it. Anybody have a question for John? All right. With that being said, can I get a motion for adjournment? So moved. So moved. Director Wong, second. Director Webb. All in favor? Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. All opposed? 4-0. Motion passes. 6:58.
Good night, everybody, and goodbye.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.
Good night. Happy trails, buddy. Be good. I'll get in touch with you.